Hi guys, welcome back to Jurassic Collectibles. Got a really exciting toy up for review today. It's the Compstegnathus from the Chaos Effect line. Now these were released by Hasbro in 1998 and they were supposed to tie in with the release of a cartoon TV series. Unfortunately the TV series never came to fruition and all that we're left with is these fantastic toys. They were essentially hybrid dinosaurs, mixtures of different dinosaurs that had sort of been genetically spliced together to create these sort of Frankenstein's monster of each dinosaur. So this one is a Compstegnathus, which is a mixture of a Compsognathus, a Stegosaurus, and a modern day African tree frog, hence the coloration, the bright coloration. And a lot of the dinosaurs were very brightly coloured, and it was a very sort of striking change from what we were used to with the Jurassic Park toys. I'll give you a little 360 so you can see him all the way around. He's got a very sort of sleek, streamlined design, and actually he reminds me quite a lot of, I don't know if you remember the Godzilla 1998 TV series, but he resembles the creatures that you used to see on that TV series. I do like its pose, and I like the sculpt, although it's quite stylized. I remember at the time when these toys came out, I wasn't so keen on these figures because they weren't very respectful of the dinosaurs that we grew up and knew and loved. Jurassic Park was very respectful and it treated them as almost like if the animals were alive today, but this felt like a very weird offshoot of the Jurassic Park franchise. We recently looked at some new news that had come to light on Jurassic World Jurassic Park 4, and this guy featured in that video because he tied in with that news. I'll put a link to that video down below if you haven't seen it already, but then if you don't want to know any spoilers, then obviously don't watch that video. Okay, let's take a closer look at this guy. So starting off with the head sculpt, you can see we've got a very striking predatory head, very bright yellow teeth, and you can see we've got a little bit of a hint of a beak there on the upper jaw. Very bright blue there used on the head, and a very sort of bright luminous orange eye as well. This orange is carried on in the mouth, where you can see we've got like a double pronged tongue, which we'll get into in just a bit. Underneath you can see we've got very hard edged, very defined head sculpt. A bit like sort of DC action figures. And then as we move down the neck, you can see we've got like a yellow stripe that starts here. And you can see here we've got the plates starting as well, which are obviously inspired by the Stegosaurus. As we move down to the arm, you can see we've got a very glossy, oily looking black arm with very defined musculature. It's actually sculpted really nicely, and very sort of scary looking claws, very long. And as we move into the torso, you can see here the musculature and the ribs, stylized but very clear there. And then as we move into the leg, you can see we've got very prominent musculature and again very oily, glossy black. Really nicely sculpted toes and toe claws with nice striations. It's a shame really that the arms and the legs didn't get a bit more of a paint job, a little bit more variation. Instead we're just stuck with these very sort of plain black limbs. A little bit of a missed opportunity if you ask me, but I suppose it ties in with the whole look of the creature. And then as we move up here you can see the plates get bigger and more stylized. This yellow line continues across the back, and then as we move into the tail, got a very striking tail with a sort of gradient of blue running along here, and actually this tail is rubbery. So this is actually a soft tail, and all of these plates are rubbery too. The body here, the torso and the head is a hard plastic, and the legs and the arms are a little bit rubbery, but not as rubbery as the plates and the tail here. And as we move down you can see we've got those famous tail spikes from the Stegosaurus, and then again on the other side a very stylized JP logo on the leg there. You can see it's kind of it's done in italics, so the JP logo is like slanted to one side, and then we've got this little double helix at the bottom, obviously representing the genetics aspect of this creature, the fact that it's a spliced creature, and it says 49 there. So it's an official Jurassic Park merchandise product, but it is a new logo. It's obvious that they tried to sort of update the new logo to make it sort of appeal to youngsters. Then as we move down the leg again, you can see very defined musculature again with this oily black finish. And the yellow line continues on this side also. A different pose on this side. I really like the pose and the sculpt of this arm. It's more extended and it contrasts the opposite side. I do like that. And then as we move back to the head, you can see there the brightly coloured top jaw. Okay, so onto this dinosaur's gimmick. You can see at the top, they've tried to almost like disguise a plate in here, but unfortunately they've done it in bright orange. So it's really obvious that this is a switch. But anyway, you push this forward and you'll see that the double-pronged tongue, which must be inspired by the African tree frog, comes forward and locks into place. So there's a little groove running all the way along the back there. Now on the opposite side, there is a button here. Now when I press this button, the double-pronged tongue retracts, like that. So it's quite a cool little feature. The only thing is that this is a frog trait, not a dinosaur trait. So it does feel a little sort of alien, this feature. But I suppose that was the point of the Chaos Effect line, to try new things and try and excite new young viewers. In terms of articulation, you can lift up and open the top jaw there. You can rotate the arms, but they are hindered by the head and, in this case, the leg. On the other side it's not so bad, but yeah, it does hit the head there. The legs can rotate as well. Again, this one hits the front arm, which is a little bit of a shame, but you can see you've got quite a nice range of movement on that side. The tail does twist as well, so you can actually twist that round, and the plates go with it, which is quite nice. Sometimes on toys they'll leave a bit behind and then it ruins the sculpt, but actually this one looks quite nice, apart from the paint job not lining up. So that's kind of all the articulation for this guy, and of course he does have the rubbery tail as well, which allows obviously some bending and posing as well. So how big is this action figure? Let's bring in the tape measure. So you're looking at about just over 10 inches long, which is about 26 centimeters, and in terms of the height with the plates, you're looking at just under 5 inches, which is about 12-13 centimeters. Scale comparison time. Let's bring in the recently reviewed Papodilophosaur to give you an idea of how big this guy is. And this Papodilophosaur, the sculpt and paint job is amazing. So if you haven't seen the review for this guy, link is down below. And he's also got an articulated jaw as well, which is fantastic. But you can see here the Dilophosaur comes just up about the same height as the head of the Compstegnathus. Next, let's bring in the huge Giganotosaurus from Schleich. Now, we recently reviewed this guy on the channel too. He is enormous, the sculpt is amazing, and he too has an articulated jaw, so he can be posed as well. Fantastic. And if you haven't seen the review for this guy, link is down below. You can see here that the Compstegnathus comes to sort of just under the lower jaw of the Giganotosaurus from Schleich, so that gives you some idea how big this Chaos Effect figure is. So there we have it, guys. That was today's look at the Compstegnathus from the Chaos Effect line by Hasbro. I think this is a very unique and striking looking figure. We probably won't see a Jurassic Park toy like this ever again, and it shows the kind of unique directions that the Jurassic Park franchise has tried to go in the past. If you haven't seen the video where we featured this guy discussing news about Jurassic World, make sure you check out that video. It does have spoilers, but go and check it out anyway. The link is down below. In the meantime, let me know if you own this figure, if you remember the toy line coming out in 1998. Rate and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.